Okay, welcome back to the JavaScript Dojo, where we're learning JavaScript, all the basics, and just advancing our programming knowledge. Okay, so we've already done JavaScript basics, variables in data, and operators in math. So let's look at this. So we'll go into conditionals here. So conditionals, if, else, else. Conditionals let your code make decisions. So if we made a variable, let temperature equal 28, if temperature is greater than 30, then do this. You see how it's got the main brackets? So if this evaluates as true, which we learned about in operators, that's basically the operator is greater than there. So if it's greater than 30, do this, which that's the closing bracket for the if, console.log it's hot, else if temperature is greater than 20, it's warm, else console.log it's cool. So we can kind of see that it equals 28, so it's less than 28, so this one wouldn't evaluate. Greater than, it is greater, so this is what it would console.log. And if neither, it would have evaluated, it would have done the else statement. So logical operators, combine conditions using and, or not. And so you could say if something, like if temperature is greater than 30 and temperature is less than 70, do something. So you can kind of have it check multiple conditions. Or is the two up and down lines, not is the exclamation point, and two and signs. Okay, let age equal 20, let has ID equal true. If age is greater than 18 and has ID is true, so that it would have just evaluate as true. If you write a variable down that if this was false, then that wouldn't be true. So you have to kind of think of it in opposite terms when you're checking the condition sometimes. But if both of those are true, in this case it is, it would print access granted. Let is weekend equal false, let is holiday equal true. If is weekend or is holiday, do this. So either one has to evaluate as true. And is weekend is false, so it would go to the second condition, and it always goes left to right. So if it's an or, it doesn't even have to evaluate the next one. But this one's false, so it would go is holiday, and is holiday is true, so it would print out day off. What does the and operator do? Returns true if either condition is true, returns true only if both conditions are true, negates the condition, adds the two numbers. That might be a little tricky for the and when you're thinking of that with math, but double and evaluates if both, so both conditions would have to be true. So we know it's both. We'll continue on. Okay. Given let x equal 15, which block runs? If x is greater than 20, you would run block A. Else if x is greater than 10, run block B, and else do C. So we know it's 15, and it's not greater than 15. It's less than that, so it's not that one. Else if it's greater than 10, and again, 15 is greater than 10, so it's going to be the else block. So let's see here, that's block B. So it would be that code that runs, so block B. Hopefully that's making a little sense. Fill in the blank. Complete the condition to check if the score is greater than or equal to 60. If score blank 60, console.log pass. So greater than or equal to. So if score is greater than or equal to, so you would just do greater than or equal to, and again, normally you would see it with the greater symbol and equals next to it, but this program is just putting that little funky line underneath. So we'll check answer. And let me just switch over to a different view for you real quick. So I'm going to pull up the notepad. So normally you would say if f is greater than or equal to. That's the way you'll see it in most. Zoom in on that. That's the way you'll see it on most programming. Like, depending on if you're using Notepad or any of the other softwares. Anyway, okay, let's go back here. All right. I'm opening all kinds of different programs up. Okay, let's continue on here. Write a function called grade that takes a score, a number, okay. Code challenge. Write a function called grade that takes a score as a number. Return A if greater than 90, B if greater than or equal to 80, C if greater than or equal to 70, otherwise F, then log grade 85. So functions we'll touch on later, but basically if we're creating a function grade and it takes a number, that's the parameter. So this is cool. It'll touch a little, give you a little advanced logic here, but if your else if logic here, what we're learning today, we put in between, inside the function. And let's see here. I like to tab it a little bit on this program. Okay, so takes a number. Okay, return A if greater than 90. So we'll say score if score, I guess we should use the score is greater than or equal to 90. Open curly braces, close curly braces. Then we would want it to, let's see, takes a score number, return A. So return is also something we'll learn about later, but return A in quotes. And then what's the other option? B. Sorry, I haven't done this before without you, so I'm kind of figuring it out as we go here. Let's put that there, and then we'll do else if statement right below that. Else if, and then we will say score and this one is if it's greater than or equal to 80. So score is greater than or equal to 80. And that one will return B. I like to kind of keep it nice and organized, but return quotes B. And then else, if it's neither of those, else, then, okay, else, F. Okay, else, so else, we'll just return F. Okay, let's see if I did this right. Oh, it would let me expand it a little. Okay, well, let's go ahead and run code and see what happens here. Unexpected token. So I must not have closed one. This is all good learning. So we got the main function that's wrapped. Okay, if score, we've got that one closed. Else if score is greater than 80, we've got that one wrapped. Else if, so let me look real quick. Okay, I'm not sure if this is the problem here, but I do see else if isn't spaced like it's supposed to be. And I spelled score wrong right there. Let's see if that fixes the problem or not. Grade 85 should return B. So capital B. See, that's why coding, this is fun to do it. So let's see if A is not capital. Was it supposed to be capital? Let me just change all these to caps, so just in case. Let's find out. Boom, it worked. Okay, so it's a great example. I know we're not looking at function, but again, as a teaser here, function grade score. So it's creating a function called grade, and you always can give it a parameter. And in this case, console.log grade calls the function and put a number 85. So what it does is, let me see. So function grade, it really puts like 85 here, and then that, I was calling that variable. So score would equal 85. So that's how that would go into one of the if-else blocks. But really all we were trying to learn is the conditionals, so this part. So if you can ignore the function part until we get there, but maybe that would make a little sense, just giving you the basic example. And let's see here. So we run code, B came out. So again, 85 was the number. That would essentially be the same thing as if I were to just say grade equals 85. And then if I were to say if grade is greater than or equal to 90, return A. So it's going to return, and a return statement just returns back to the function call. So in this case, we would return that back to the function, which we're not doing right now. So we might just say console.log A if we were doing that. So then the correct one, let me just show you, console.log, we'll just console.log A, which is more on par with what we were talking about earlier. And then else if score, in this case we changed it to grade, it's greater than 80. And then we'll console.log B. And I usually like my code to be in between the brackets and with the little indentation in between them, so you can kind of see if this happens, do this. And so that's all wrapped in those curly braces. Else if grade is greater than or equal to 80, console.log A, else if return F. And then let's get rid of this. And then let's just run code. Oh, I must have did the same mistake somewhere in here. So grade equals 85. Your if-else logic here, and these are commented, so that won't be the problem. So if grade is greater than 90, and it's not, so that nothing will happen there. Else if grade, let's see here, else if grade is greater than or equal to 80, console.log A, and then else, oh, there's the extra bracket right there. We're not using, so now this should run. Yep. It's just giving us the error because of the test, but grade A printed out. Let's see here. Oh, grade 85 should return B. All right, well, I hope you get the gist of that. So if grade is greater than or equal to 90, console.log A, oh, there's the problem. Should have been B. See how I typed A and A, I didn't change that? So if I run the code B, that's the correct one. Of course, that's not correct compared to the test, but I hope you get the example on that one. And that's conditionals. So if, else if, else. So if something happens, else, if. So you can actually do a few else ifs if you need to. If, else if, but else would be, okay, nothing, then just do this last one, no matter what. All right, so we'll hit loops next time, and if you're enjoying, go ahead and subscribe, follow along, leave me comments, whatever you need, and just ask me to get the code if you want to run this little program, the JavaScript Dojo. All right, see you next time. Bye-bye.